Look guys, I know you hate it when I leave you all on those cliffhangers, but the doctor gave me some painkillers. They work wonders, but one of the side effects is severe drowsiness. There are a few others, but that's not what I'm here for. I just want to get this out of the way so you know why it's been taking so long to get this all out. So let's get back into this. Guys, I'm not feeling too good. Are you sure it was only silver, Rachel? Terry sounding rather worse for the wear. That's all I found while extracting it, unless the government found some new chemical compound that injures entities that I'm not aware of. But that's pretty unlikely. Rachel responded nonchalantly. Have you ever been injured by silver before? No, never. They tend to be too quick for silver attacks. I just wasn't expecting them to line their armor with the stuff. Last I saw, all they had were exosuits. Maybe they realized they needed more to defend themselves. I thought now would be an amazing time to interject. Well, what if they did come up with something new? Those guys seem pretty high-tech. Is it really out of the question that they could have come up with something else, put the odds against someone like you, Rachel? She seemed to actually consider it. Then I could practically see the light bulb go off before her face became somber. Well, maybe not entirely out of the question. There is... Never mind. Hey Terry, let me see one of your tentacles again. He released one with a gushing of black blood and pus. I vomited right there and then from the rancid odor. Oh no, that's not good. Abraham, watch our backs whilst we search for the medical center. I didn't bring enough tools for this. Terry said one word before passing out entirely. Behind. The next thing I knew, a giant beast-like creature was on top of Abraham. He was wrangling it and fending off its bites until he finally plunged his immaculate sword into the beast's head. Well, that was rather bothersome. Rachel, Jacob, grab Terry and take him to the medical bay. Jeff, you guide them. Joseph, you and the doctor must protect Megami and the rest until Terry is safe. I must do my duty and defend against the beast tamer. The last thing I saw was a familiar blur before we were all running. Just around this corner we should find what we're looking for, Jeff said, still a little exhausted from the beating he took earlier. We have to have our guards up, though. She may be in there. Who is she? Why so cryptic? I got no response, but as we entered the room, I got my answer. Well, well, well. If it isn't my good buddy Jeff. Looks like you've made a few friends, huh? You know the boss is quite angry with you. She was quite beautiful. Her flowing brunette hair, her hazel eyes, her perfect body. She almost reminded me of Jane. The only difference being that she seemed to be Asian. What have you come for this time, Hey, you still owe me. Don't forget that. Jeff seemed desperate. Well, the boss's orders are more important than you helping me out that one time. Sure, you helped me out once. But now your little group is killing plenty of good workers. She retaliated. Oh, come on, you know as well as I... She cut him off. But? There was an unnecessarily long pause floating in the air. I can't stop you if I didn't see anything. She winked at Jeff and walked out the door. We immediately got Terry situated on the cleaner beds in the room. Rachel grabbed a scalpel and some bottles from a nearby table, started experimenting with both the fluids, as well as Terry. That's when we heard and felt thuds coming our way. Watch my back whilst I do my work, alright? Rachel said in a panic. Jacob began absorbing shadows from the surrounding area as he slowly turned into his void form. They never witnessed the process before, but it felt like I was watching something that no human ever should lay eyes on. Like a visible black hole, absorbing itself something. The stomping was vibrating my brain at this point. Then I saw him. That halo-type suit. But it was fully intact, which meant it was one of the two others that had yet to suffer any bodily harm. He was running past until he must have noticed us, because he stopped at the doorway almost immediately. It was Tucker, and he was panicked. Alright, I know we got off on the wrong foot earlier, but I need your help. There's some things on the upper level I just can't handle on my... He paused and turned to look the way he came, then sighed in relief as he saw something. Shortly after, we saw the other guy along with the CO strolling up much more carefully than Tucker had. Alright, what I was saying, we can't handle him and we need your help to get out of here. Oh yeah? Why should we help you? You're the reason Terry's on the verge of death, said for some reason, a tear welling in my eye. Wait, is it from the armor he got cut up on? Tucker asked. I nodded in response.
Who's they working on him?
I'll tell you if you tell me that top-secret information Jacob was hiding from us. All the cards were in my hand, and I'd be damned if I'd let it pass me by.
You know I can't tell you that,
Tucker responded.
Even if I wanted to, I can't tell you that information. But if you allow me to help the lady out, I can guarantee that Terry can give you more information than I have. So will you let me help or not? We only have so much time.
Megmi gave the trio a once-over and nodded dejectedly.
If the Three Stooges can help bring him back, I suppose we have no other choice,
she said with a voice that perfectly matched her face. Jeff and Jacob didn't seem to mind too much, but they still had their guards up. The final obstacle was Rachel, who was still trying different techniques and appeared to have made quite the collection of elixirs with multiple vial trays filled up. The math made absolutely no sense considering she only grabbed a few small bottles. But she was an alchemist, so I guess there was no need to question the math on it. Tucker made his way over to Rachel, like a hunter trying not to spook a deer.
Hey girl, I know how to cure him if...
Stay away from him, you son of a bitch!
Rachel was not having any of Tucker's shit.
I can do this on my own, okay? There's never been an ailment I cannot cure.
She sounded like she was on the verge of tears at that point.
I can do this on my own.
Listen, miss. I made the chemical that's caused this myself. I can help him, but only if you let me.
And how do I know you won't just pour more into him? If I were to let you do this, I can't guarantee his safety.
Rachel was actually crying at this point.
You're an alchemist, right? Inspect this syringe. You'll cure him and make sure all of us get out of here.
Why do you have a cure to something you used to kill entities with?
Rachel asked through her tears. Apparently she couldn't find the solution on her own. Tucker slouched his arms a little.
It's for negotiation purposes. When we need to get information out of one of you paranormal things, we inject them with some of my special mixtures so they go through a slow and agonizing death. We tell them we'll give them a cure if they give us the information we need. Some we do actually need to keep alive, but others, then they let their guards down.
That was the tipping point. Rachel finally turned to him and inspected the syringe. She seemed to fill with hope, then glared at him.
How did you get your hands on this?
He seemed to be confused.
I told you it's my special mixture. I was assigned to come up with a chemical with a small team that could just about kill any paranormal entity. They wanted to just infuse it into our armor, but since I was on the team, I have the formula for it, so I made some extra, as well as the chemical to break it down.
Still suspicious, she took the syringe and proceeded to squirt a small amount into her mouth, immediately getting completely red in the face.
Oh, I see. Yes, this will work then. Thank you very much.
All worry seemed to leave her as she injected the chemical into Terry. He began coughing up black ooze, presumably blood. Again, I have no clue how he managed to cough up blood with no mouth, but I saw it happen. His voice was weak.
What happened?
Tucker answered him.
It was a poison I cooked up for beings like yourself, but I had the antidote that saved your sorry ass.
Rachel glared at him, but Terry stood between them.
I would say I'm in your debt, but I'm pretty sure you saving me is the least you could do for knocking me out cold like that.
He fell back down onto the bed.
Never had something hit me so hard that wasn't on a Wednesday.
He let out a small chuckle. Just then, Abraham burst through the door. The bit was starting to get old fast, and I just hoped people would stop showing up without me expecting it.
Glad to see Terry as well, but I need Jacob's help right this instant. Come with me.
Jacob let out a maniacal laugh before joining him and leaving. So why exactly do you need our help with your powers? I asked. Tucker let out a short laugh before saying,
No, I don't think you understand. I don't need your help. I need the help of these guys.
He gestured to everyone else in the room.
If I needed the help of some average guy, I would have brought one off the streets.
Terry cut him off before he could tear into me some more.
I think you're the one who's misunderstanding. He comes with us. There's a reason we brought him. And you don't get to tell him he can't come.
Megami joined in.
So, are you just going to walk in here, request our help, then not let the human join in?
Sure, I may not like him, but he was already with us. If you won't allow him to accompany us when we help you, then we won't.
Tucker looked me over before seemingly noticing something.
Hold on, is that mithril?
He pointed to my vest.
On second thought, sure, why not? Can't let him die down here on his own. I'll allow it.
I sighed a breath of relief, thankful that not even Megami would consider leaving me behind. Maybe she was just trying to impress Jeff or something. Who knows? Terry, stay still for a moment for me, would you? The doctor finally spoke up, this time in his British accent. I have something you will definitely need if you'll be accompanying us.
If it's for easing the pain, don't use the excessively strong stuff. I still need to fight.
The doctor put away a syringe he had. Then he pulled out a new one. After a short process of the injection for Terry and back and forth between the CO and the doctor, we continued our mission. But we had barely stepped out of the doorway when we saw an alien? He was short, similar to the ones in pop culture, and had enormous eyes. But aside from that, he, or it, didn't look like your average alien. He spoke in the words of a child, and the voice was off somehow.
Do you know what my parents are?
It's like its voice was looping bits of its voice on accident. Was it trying to mimic a child or something? If so, it was doing a terrible job of it. Tucker shouted,
Dexter, what in the hell are you doing standing there?
The other military guy, apparently named Dexter, seemed to come back to life.
Sorry, on it.
He pulled out his knife as well, and they both charged at it, moving much more eloquently than expected considering their full body armor. I lost track of which one was which, but one of them kicked the thing into the air with incredible force. The thing dented the ceiling as its entire body was slammed into it. As it fell, the other guys kicked it into the wall. The thing looked completely unfazed at it as it pulled itself off the wall. Both then swung their knives at its head, when it caught the blades with both of its hands.
Well, do you?
The thing threw both of the guys back about 10 feet or so. Terry swung a couple of tentacles at it. They were still rough in shape. But it seemed like he managed to do something to the alien-like thing with the one he stabbed into it.
Why are you all so mean?
It grabbed the tentacle that had stabbed into it and pulled it out with relative ease. By now I finally picked my jaw up off the floor and readied my pistol.
Man, I sure hope this works,
I said under my breath, just before firing. It caught the fucking bullet. I fired another 2 rounds and one of them managed to make its way into the thing's shoulder. It let out a yelp of agony as Rachel dropped her human form and charged after it. Jeff followed suit, and soon enough, everyone but the CO, Megami, and the doctor were trying to beat it down. Jeff suffered a blow to his face, knocking him to the ground about 15 feet away. The doctor almost immediately began tending to him. Terry managed to plant a few more tentacles into the thing, pinning it to the wall. Rachel then smashed her bottle over its head. The fluid began to eat its way through its flesh. Terry pulled out his tentacles, and then the thing fell to the ground. Finally, Dexter and Tucker pulled out their own secret weapons. They looked like futuristic rifles. Then I heard the sound of way too many volts of electricity to be safe for anyone, and that little beast was completely obliterated. After the fight was done, I looked to the doctor and Jeff to see how he was holding up. The doctor was just sitting there, cross-legged. I didn't understand why he wasn't trying to resuscitate Jeff. Why was he just sitting there? Rachel walked over to them both. She shed a tear before walking back to the rest of us. Well, is he alright? I asked nervously. I think I knew deep down what she was going to say. I think it was more that I was hoping someone would tell me I was wrong. I was hoping Jeff would hop up and say, "Gotcha." But the look in her eyes, her sad demeanor, it told me I was right. Can't you bring him back somehow? Can't the doctor help you or something? Tears were welling in my eyes. It didn't make sense. He murdered my wife. Sure, he was hired for it, but he still was the one to fulfill the order. But even still, I cared about him. Logically, it made no sense for me to have any positive feelings for him. You brought Chad back, so why not Jeff? Please, just give me an answer. My emotions were overflowing and spraying out. Rachel answered. It was similar to her previous voice, but it was a bit more rough.
His soul was already dwindling. They hit to his face, caved his skull in, breaking into his skull tissue and fragmented. It severed the last string his soul had to his physical body. Chad's soul is very malleable. Even if it gets severed in half, it's still able to be sewn, in a sense, back together. I'm sorry, Joseph.
By the end of the explanation, tears were rolling down my cheeks. Why was I crying? Why is it that after all this and everything I know, I'm crying? I couldn't stand the thought of losing my friend, maybe. Terry put a hand on my shoulder, causing me to flinch.
Look, Joseph, I know that mourning is important for the grieving process, but look at where we are. We don't have time to stand around. But...
He cut me off.
Look, Joseph, we don't have the time to do this. He was my friend too. Don't make his death mean nothing by dying here.
You're right. Please just tell me we can come back to get him so he gets a proper burial. Terry nodded.
Let's leave then. I can't seem like this right now.
The soldiers activated their cloaking devices, and we headed out to find Jacob and Abraham.